The Good Liars.
The Good Liars.
This is boring.
We're boring.
I will die standing in my boots.
Herschel, I got you some condoms.
What made everyone so weird and sad that they had to come out here?
Mr. President, welcome to the show.
We are the Good Liars, and we are going to tell the truth. Trust us. Welcome to the Good Liars Tell the Truth. I am Jason Selvig.
And I'm DeVrom Stiefler, and we are the Good Liars.
And we may be the good liars, but on this show, we are going to tell the truth. And before we get into it, DeVrom, I really have to tell you the truth right now, and I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings. You look very tired. Like, you look like you might not even be awake right now. Like, are you currently asleep? You look so tired.
You know what? I have been asleep, I think, my entire life, except for about 3 hours of it, which I think is what you're going to get to. I think you're going to explain why that might be.
Yes. Today, we're going to be talking about the Reawaken America Tour that DeVrom and I had the distinct honor of attending in 2022. And it was a wild experience. We were only there for 3 or 4 hours, but we experienced a lifetime of conspiracy theories, I think.
I mean, when you wake up that much, that fast, you're going to remember it. That's for sure.
Yes. It was a rush. And also there was a couple moments of genuine fear, I think, that we had. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But let's get into it. Way back in 2022, DeVrom and I and our good friend Peter Richardson traveled to Phoenix, Arizona to go to the Reawaken America Tour, an event featuring speakers from the world of QAnon and Trump, including Michael Flynn, Mike Lindell, and Eric Trump. Amongst others, it was really an all-star cast there.
How lucky we were.
Really felt very, very blessed to be there. Mm-hmm. More on being blessed later. The Reawaken America Tour is the brainchild of Clay Clark, a talk show host and businessman from Oklahoma. And according to Sam Kestenbaum of Rolling Stone, quote, in Clark's career, he has been a regional mogul, a self-help author. He oversaw a dog training company, a barbershop chain, and a photo business. He once ran for mayor, and now he's tapping into a mix of pandemic conspiracies, God and flag patriotism, stop the steal fervor, and spiritual supernaturalism. And so Clark created this Reawaken America Tour after COVID-19 ravaged the country and a lot of businesses closed. And you might be thinking, what is the Reawaken America Tour? Well, it's a little bit of a MAGA rally. It's a little bit a revival church, and it's a lot crazy. And I think we heard maybe the craziest thing we've ever heard at any event we've ever been to, and we've heard a lot of stuff.
Oh, wow. I'm like not... You're kind of leading me through this a little bit. I'm excited to hear what the craziest thing we've heard is. I'm not sure what it is.
Okay, interesting. Really?
Yeah.
Are you being sincere now, or are you not being sincere and just playing it up?
I just remembered.
You remembered. Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah.
So we arrived in Phoenix on Thursday night, and on Friday morning, we headed to the Dream City Mega Church in Phoenix. And the Dream City Church actually made national news when they were scheduled to host a pro-Trump event in June of 2020. And the church claimed that they had an air filtration system that could destroy 99.9% of COVID. And DeVrom, do you think that claim was backed up by any science? If you just had, it's a yes or no question. You got a 50% chance of getting this right.
Well, I think when you're in a church like that, you don't need science to get your facts. You pray and you say, what does God tell you? And if God says it's 99.9% of germs or COVID, maybe God got that from the bottle of like Dove dish soap or whatever, and then repeated it.
Maybe God was not informed, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It was not backed up by science, if you can believe it. They ended up deleting that claim. But there was a lot of stuff going on like that in 2020, right? Like a lot of like miracle cures were being put out there by televangelists and people like that. Presidents, hydroxychloroquine by the president.
Hydroxychloroquine, maybe some disinfectant, into the body.
Or some light.
Or some light that destroys it in a minute. Maybe less than a minute.
Yeah, it would be wild if somebody who claimed that was the leading candidate for president right now. That would be wild. That'd be wild. The first thing you'll notice when you enter the Reawaken America Tour is that everyone there is very old. And also, there's lots of people trying to sell you something. Before we even entered the church, there were several folding tables set up, selling everything from supplements to new piping for your house. I remember we talked to these people that had this piping company, and they were talking like a little bit about God, but also about like getting purified water in your house, and somehow the two were connected.
Yeah, I think it was purified water, right?
Yeah.
It was somehow it was going to purify your water, but also you're at a church. They were leaning into the God thing.
Yes.
That it was a strange cross-section of like these kind of schemes and religion and politics. But like you said, it was right when we walked up.
I think after we looked at a couple of these tables, it became clear that most of these people were either creating or involved in pyramid schemes, right? Like it all seemed like they were supplements, like somehow loosely related to God or religion or freedom. But it was also
general faith in their products or whatever that none of it, much like the air filtration system, claims maybe not backed up by science, but claims nonetheless proudly being made.
But backed up by God, by the big man upstairs. But that happens a lot where the pyramid schemes, like they will target church groups as a way to get in, and they will have a group and then have 20 people in this church group Bible study that will then be in somebody's downline, and it happens.
Right.
It happens a lot.
I mean, it's possibly just too obvious that it doesn't need to be stated, but if you have a bunch of people who are bound by their common faith, and you can convince one or two of them that this product works, I can imagine those ideas spreading quickly in a church. So perfect place for the Reawaken America event.
Yes. Another thing we noticed is that a lot of people there had some COVID conspiracies, and that was like a big thing there, even though at this point there was basically no COVID protocols still happening, right? In the US in 2022, like basically everything was open. People weren't wearing masks very much. It wasn't affecting.
It was in Arizona.
lives.
I don't think it was particularly closed up in the first place in comparison to other places. I would have to check on that a little bit, but yeah, I think by that time it was more of a fighting it ideologically than actually having it affect their daily lives.
And we were able to talk to somebody who was a doctor who had some thoughts on what's going on with COVID.
Oh, wow.
Why are you speaking at the same event with Mike Flynn and Mike Lindell?
So I'm a physician, okay? And by the way, COVID is just a catalyst, smoke storm, if you will, to kind of deceive people, right?
I'm just happy to be talking to a medical doctor because I've gotten in arguments with friends who are not doctors, and they try and sell me some supplements. They try and sell me some powders and mixes and all this stuff. But it's no, you need to listen to doctors like yourself who are telling you what's going on with this virus.
You're 100% right.
Is this your product?
So we have nutritional products and supplements, stuff that we help our patients with. But
what is this? Is it like a powder or something?
This is a nutritionally infused coffee beverage.
It's a nutritionally infused coffee beverage. Yeah, it's a powder.
You were so kind of respectful and complimentary to him. That was really nice of you.
Yeah.
Thank
you. I guess. There's
a lot of people I get in arguments with. I need a professional like you. Now, anyway, this is my coffee beverage.
Yes.
I don't know.
Infused. I just love how he used the word infused there. This is big. So we looked up this guy after this video. After we edited this video, right before. It turns out. He said he's a doctor, medical doctor is what he said. He's a chiropractor. Now, I don't want to say anything bad about a chiropractor. They saved my neck one time. They're great.
But
they're great.
It's not a medical doctor.
It's not helping you with COVID-19, I don't think.
No.
So that was wild. But he was basically, every single person there had kind of that same vibe a little bit.
A little bit. Like a lot of people are like, I am going to teach you something right now. I am an authority on this. And I think you have to have that vibe when you're trying to sell your bullshit to people. And so they all kind of had that vibe of like, obviously we all know that, COVID, this, that, and the other thing. Obviously we all know. So now I'm going to sell you the thing that's going to help. And we talked to several people like that. I don't know, 4 or 5, I guess. But there were probably 25 tables inside the church, right?
Yeah.
In the entry area.
Now, I don't want to say that all of the people selling things there were selling supplements, because that's not true. There was actually some beautiful art that was there as well. And we talked to this gentleman that was selling it was just fantastic art. Look at that.
Look at that.
Could you describe it for the people listening to him?
Sure. We see Donald Trump here holding, what is that? Like a hammer, an axe above his head or something?
Yeah, it's a painting of Donald Trump holding a musket, I believe, over his head.
Is it a musket? Okay, it's a little bit small for me on my screen here. So he's holding a musket triumphantly above his head, American flags waving, whipping in the background. It looks like a beautiful painting, a triumphant painting. And then you have Trump as, I guess, kind of a Paul Revere type character.
Yeah, it looks like a colonial soldier, but I think you're right. Paul Revere, it looks like he's got his lantern.
His lantern, one if by land, two if by sea. So he might be kind of invoking, Paul Revere there. And then the third painting, the one that I'm holding, I never noticed this before, how defeated Trump looks.
Oh, you see, that's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of like an inkblot test here, because I see a man who's putting his head down in prayer, in silent prayer, because I know that Trump is such a religious man, and he's just praying to God, as I'm sure he seeks guidance from the Lord all the time. Donald Trump, that's just the man he is. So the gentleman in the center of this photo is a painter, and he's been painting. I think since 2020, he started painting all these pictures of Donald Trump and Mike Flynn. And I'm trying to think who else was on there. It was mostly him and Mike Flynn, but they're all like putting them for the most part into like colonial, like
right.
He's George Washington, and one of them Trump is, and Mike Flynn is like another general or something. So it's very beautiful art. We did not purchase any. I think we thought about it briefly.
We couldn't get it into our suitcases and get it home, and that was tough. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's be honest.
All of it.
He was a nice enough guy, though. He was a nice enough guy.
Do you think he's able to recreate that? Do you think he's doing that just with a paintbrush? Does that able to make it look that much like Donald Trump? I think there's like some tracing going on or something.
He said he was tracing in Photoshop, so it's really not that good. If you're
okay.
Yeah.
Objectively, it's not that good. Then.
It's not that good. Yeah. So after we saw all the tables where people were selling things both in and outside the church. I forgot. I want to show you this one thing. This is a picture, and it says Jesus is King, and then it helps you get salvation from pornography, sex before marriage, drunkenness, false religion, marijuana, and eternal hell.
Oh my word!
I think that's an interesting list of things, because. Does one thing means eternal hell?
Let's go down the list. Salvation from pornography. Okay, I guess.
Okay.
If you looked at pornography, sex before marriage. So you're just asking forgiveness after the fact, I guess. This is the one that gets me though. Drunkenness. It's your liver that saves you from drunkenness. That filters out the alcohol. I don't know if the salvation would make you not drunk.
Okay. Well, what about marijuana?
Same. You just need some time.
Okay, just to sober up a little bit.
Yeah.
And eternal hell, that's the only one in that list I'd be like, well, if hell's real, I would prefer not to have it. So I was saved here. I guess this is the long way to say I was saved.
I was waking up. You were being saved. What a magical day we were having.
I know. You were so tired, but then you had that coffee-infused beverage, and we were back at it right away. Mm-hmm. So we looked around at these tables, people selling things, and we wanted to see the main event. We wanted to see who was speaking on stage. And we went inside, and I think Mike Flynn was on stage. I call him Mike. He's a buddy, General Mike Flynn.
Yeah, you like
Mikey.
Mike.
I call him Mikey Flynn,
Yeah.
Flynn Dog. Flynn Dog was on stage, and he was saying stuff about the election being stolen, and saying
blah,
stuff
blah,
about God.
same shit.
Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Same stuff. I think we'd probably seen him once or twice before. It was a little boring. Mm-hmm. Then a main event came up, and just an objectively funny speech, I think. You pulled this video from the experience to
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to set it up in any way.
I'll set it up a little bit. So Mike Lindell is a big figure at these things, a big figure in the, Stop the Steal. For anyone who's not aware, he's the My Pillow guy. He has all the, ads for his pillow company on Fox News for a long time. And then he's launched a bunch of other little, companies. And around this time, he had launched Frank Speech.
That's right.
And this was his, kind of social media platform that he kept claiming was a lot bigger than it was. It seemed like very few people were using it. But the big thing that happened around here was that the bank had told him they didn't want to continue to keep his money because of all the election lies and everything. So here he is. He's taking this stage amidst all this controversy, and we'll play the video for you here.
Go bank!
We get this call, you're going to hear it here. This is the bank. They're debanking us.
It's the perceived public reputation risk.
No.
I want to show you their names. I'm going to leave it up because this is seen on Frank's speech by about
He's going to dox the bankers.
people right now.
Yeah.
So here's their phone numbers.
There's nothing on this screen. There's literally nothing.
Where's the phone number?
No, it's should have the clip of the bank phone numbers and stuff.
Yeah, bring him up. Show the phone number.
It's amazing. That's just not.
Where's the video guy?
Okay.
Pull up the number.
We'll get them up there, but we're going to have them up on Frank's speech. I want everyone in this country to call them and say, you're not
Everyone in the
those
country.
accounts down.
It seemed like it was poorly run.
This would need
That was our little. You say something, I'll agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, poorly run. Yep.
Poorly run.
That's the word I was going to go for too. That was amazing. It's just amazing comedy from Mike Lindell. You would I don't think you could write it better than that. It was just amazing. It was great.
Yeah, he's
great.
also discussing his his kind of like tech company.
Yeah,
in all this,
he was like,
and then
we used the technology to find out that they stole the election. I figured it out with my technology, but PowerPoint is a little bit above his
PowerPoint is not going to work. Just putting some text on a screen was over the heads of Mike Lindell and the AV people at the event. And it was just great because it was like building up to that moment. He was like, this was his retribution. They're going to debank me. Well, I'm going to show their numbers. They're going to be getting calls from all these people at this event.
It's a great word, debank too. But did you hear what he said? You know what he asked? When he was like, we're going to put this number up here, and I want everyone in America to call the bank. It's just like, we're going to call from literally every single person in America right now. What are we going to do? Oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. What a character that guy is. And do you remember what happened? So he was up there. He spoke for probably like 45 minutes where Peter was there. He's filming, and he was like, do I have to keep doing this? This is so long. And he keeps saying the same thing over and over again. At a certain point, Clay Clark comes out, the MC of the whole thing. He comes out and is like, all right, give it up for Mike Lindell. And Mike Lindell does not leave stage. Then Michael Flynn has to come out and get him off stage. Like, they have to actually physically remove him from the stage.
They have to manage him like he's like a child or something.
Yeah.
Like he's going on adrenaline. He can't be stopped, and they had to kind of like slowly corral him off stage. Yeah. And that was him. It's so funny to me. I don't know why it's so funny just hearing like kind of a reasonable banker being like, you see, it's the reputational risk.
It's the reputation. Like, you were there, and you kind of were like there when people stormed the Capitol and said some stuff, and then they were caught in the White House with do you remember this? He was in the White House
about how to declare martial
law. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Mike Lindell with like coffee, I think, and like some papers that he was like sloppily holding, and a photographer was like, click, 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 zoomed in. It's like how to declare martial law.
And it's so wild. This guy who would not leave the stage and was telling people to call his bank was in the White House after January 6th giving advice to the President of the United States. That guy.
Right. That guy who owns the pillow company.
Yeah.
Who, for some reason, was able to wrangle the best internet detectives in the world. And then he would hold these symposiums where he would say, come for the weekend, we're going to prove it to you. And then people would leave like,
I don't know.
After not learning
what he was talking about
anything.
Yeah. Well, we saw him at CPAC in Dallas. Was it CPAC over the summer? Yeah, CPAC. Mm-hmm. And within talking to him for 20 seconds, he said that my family works for Dominion. Yeah. He was like, your family works for Dominion, doesn't it? You wanted blah, blah, blah. And he just starts screaming. Just like wild. But he should go give some advice to the President of the United States, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was wild, but it was not the most wild thing at this event. Outside, there was a gentleman that I asked to speak with for a second because I saw other people going and taking their picture with him. I had no idea who this guy was. No idea. And I guess I'm just going to play this sound without any comment.
You hear Elon Musk talking about us going to Mars. Mars has been colonized since after World War II. There are millions of Americans that live on Mars.
Really?
Because the brain drain. Nazis won the war. They gave up the country of Germany, but the Nazis all came over here. And now they're all through the U.S. government. George H.W. Bush is the leader of the Fourth Reich.
Really?
Yeah, a lot more going on in this world than you can possibly fathom.
Wow. Have you thought about running for office with a platform like this, or?
I was in elected politics for 16 years, and I walked away, and it was 2006 when I realized the whole machine's corrupt and half these guys are criminals.
Wow.
Yeah. Criminals. They're all criminals.
End with a smile. On the picture. It's important.
And it turned out he was a guy called Patriot Street Fighter.
Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter, who was a speaker at this event. And he believes, one, let's just list this out here.
Yeah.
Nazis won World War II, which is important for people with the history books. You can just throw that out. They actually won.
Right. Tear out those few pages.
Americans are living on Mars. There's colonies on Mars. It's been colonized forever.
Yeah. He said that the Germans gave up Germany, moved to America, work in government, that Americans colonized Mars.
Right.
That George H.W. Bush is the leader of the Fourth Reich.
Yep, Fourth Reich. Got it. Wait, DeVrom, you never heard of the brain drain? You don't know about the brain drain?
The brain drain. I don't know about the brain drain.
All right. So this is Scott McKay, and I just want to reiterate this. Speaker at this event. Speaker sharing the same stage as the son of the former president of the United States, current leading candidate for president, Eric Trump. Eric Trump was there on the same stage. Don Jr. has spoken at these events. They are there with this guy who says that Americans are living on Mars, it's colonized, and that Germany won World War II. Is that not...
These patriots.
Can we just stop?
These patriots.
Sorry. So it just blows my mind.
It's hard not to see that as an endorsement because it is. I agree with what people are saying at this event. Therefore, I will speak there too. And we have talked to people over the years who like will say, "Where do you get your news?" It's kind of just a fallback question. Just when people are starting to say wild stuff, a lot of people have mentioned him. He has an audience. People take him seriously. They believe he's telling them news.
All right, DeVrom, I want to tell you something. I want to tell you some more about Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter. And some of this is pretty funny. The landing is not as funny. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry for setting it up that way, but so according to the Daily Beast, McKay held an event in 2021 in Pennsylvania. And this is a quote from the article. McKay and a number of his associates, including his 81-year-old father, became sick. In posts on the social media app Telegram on July 19th, McKay acknowledged that a number of people who attended the rally became ill with an unspecified disease. McKay added that he was taking hydroxychloroquine, suggesting that he had contracted COVID-19.
Okay. Wow,
okay.
Unspecified.
Unspecified.
Unspecified. Could it be the one that's been going around and making everyone sick?
McKay blamed the illness on a toxin attack from the deep state. And on July 31st, McKay announced that his father, a well-known figure to Patriot Street Fighter fans, who he called the General, had suffered a stroke caused by the coronavirus. Sadly, in August of that year, his father passed away. It gets sad. So it went from being like, this is a deep state attack, and it's not the virus that has, killed hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million people at that point in America. It was a deep state attack on this guy who had 200 people together in a small room in Pennsylvania. So that's Patriot Street Fighter. The big thing about this, and we kept calling this the Q conference, right? It's the Reawaken America Tour, but we would refer to it as the Q conference because there were so many like QAnon believers there. And when you go to the Q conference, the last person you expect you could actually meet is Q himself. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen the HBO doc series Q Into the Storm, but in the series, they make a pretty good case that Q is actually Ron Watkins. And Ron Watkins ran the site, the message board that Q was posting on, and there was several pieces of evidence, and then he kind of admitted it at the end of the doc series.
One of the major pieces of evidence is that the message board would be down, but Q would still be posting. Like, you could only do that if you had access to it in the way that he did, was the idea.
So we met Ron, and we just wanted to get our picture taken with him, but then we kind of both were overtaken with the same thought, I guess, that we just wanted to get off of our chest a little bit. So this is us meeting Ron Watkins. We never shared this video before. It's the first
in the
time
lobby
it's being seen.
of the church.
In the lobby of the church. In the lobby of the church.
That's awesome.
Look, I know that you're Q now. We know that you're Q. Will you just admit that you're Q?
What's your name?
Admit that you're Q.
I'm not.
We know that you're Q. You were controlling at the end. Just we know.
I'm not.
You were Q.
I'm not.
You were. We know that you're Q.
I'm not.
It's really obvious that you at least know who it is. Or at least that you know it was all bullshit.
Finally say that we met you.
I'm not.
But you can admit that it was all bullshit.
Well, I think we're done here because I'm not. I'm sorry.
You're not, but you can admit that it wasn't a military insider.
I'm not Q.
But you knew who it was.
I don't know who it was.
But you did because you controlled the whole thing. You knew who was posting
I did
when.
not.
You did.
I did not.
So maybe you should just admit that you were Q at the end of it.
I was not.
Okay. So tell people why they should vote for Q for Congress. I gotta say, I've seen some bad poker faces in my life. That was one of the worst.
It felt like it. It felt like just another nail in the evidence.
Coffin, the coffin with a Q. Coffin.
I just love that he ran for Congress, and it was like, well, why would you be running for Congress almost if you weren't Q or associated with? Why would you think people would vote for you? What are you running on? other than your association with Q?
Yeah, the whole thing is wild because he was used as an expert on like Newsmax or OAN. I'm probably messing that up, but in one of those two stations used him as like an expert on like voting machines, and like because he had a computer background, and he was on TV as an expert, and he just was famous from the whole Q thing, and I think it was after January 6th. He like had a tweet that was like, I think we all had a lot of fun doing this and we made a lot of great friends, but we should probably just forget this whole Q thing. And I'm paraphrasing there, but it was very, very funny. It was
That's
like,
incredible.
I think I might be going to jail. I think I might have gone a little too far
telling me
here.
that I may have incited some sort of insurrection or helped with that. So let's just be grateful for the friends we made along the way.
And we'll do a whole thing on the whole, just talking about this. Just there's so much dumb stuff with Q and like why it's so obvious it was all fake and blah, 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 blah. But this was the guy. That was the guy.
Yeah.
Behind. I mean, he might not have been the first guy to post it, but he was definitely like probably one of the
that it seems like it's just obviously not legit is that none of the stuff happens. It never happens, which should be such a huge clue.
You don't think all the mass arrests had happened? You don't think
Hillary Clinton is in Guantanamo Bay?
Well, hold on. I heard this from one of my sources at a Trump rally at the funeral for George H.W. Bush that everyone was given pieces of paper and they all had the same piece of paper and they were looking at it in there. And that was them being told, we're taking you to prison right after this. We're taking you to prison.
Jason, you got to give it up. Just be happy with all the friends you made along the way. Okay, Ron says, give it up.
It was so wild.
Walk the other way.
Somebody told that to me at a rally. I had to find the video of it. But it's like that. Those were programs. They were looking at programs for the service.
No, they were looking at pieces of paper that had very specific writing on them, and it was all the same.
Okay, so this happened, and maybe I pushed the envelope a little too much at the end there, as far as following him a little bit there. We could tell that he was very upset, and he started pointing at us with security, and we decided maybe we should just get out of here. Maybe we should just leave. We should leave.
Right.
And so we walked to the car, and this is what happened. So we're blocked in at the Q conference after we just said to Ron Watkins that we knew he was Q. I don't want to say it's a conspiracy, but it's suspect, to say the least.
Why else?
Why? It's my justice. So we go to the QAnon conference for 3 to 4 hours, and look what it did to it. We became conspiracy theorists. It turned out the person who had the car was just the guy that worked in the parking lot where we parked, and he was pissed that he couldn't park there, so he blocked us in.
Right.
It was not a conspiracy. We turned into conspiracy theorists.
But it turned us into that. You're right. We're surrounded by this buzzing, like, conspiracy theory mindset, and before you know it, I mean, you're thinking, why us? Why are we blocked in here after confronting Q?
My first thought
possibly
was
Q.
This is the brain drain. This has got to be the brain drain going on right now. Are you
think
familiar
that
with the brain drain?
One of the Nazis who won World War II, who'd come to America, bought a white truck and was blocking us in?
I think it could have been the Fifth Reich. The Fifth Reich was that guy with the white pickup truck there.
Because HW passed, there's got to be a new Reich.
Yes. And maybe that's what the pieces of paper were at the funeral.
Whoa.
There we go. So this happened. We found out, we saw the guy come out and say, oh, sorry, you'd parked there or whatever. Maybe this was after. Maybe we were blocked in and we stayed there for a little bit. And then we decided, let's just go do some more interviews.
Let's just go back. It was we can't get out.
We can't get out. Let's just go back.
Yeah.
So we go back. I don't know when this video starts that you've got here.
So we went back. We started interviewing someone, and it's kind of jump cut together a little video here just showing the various stages of what happened next. So it starts with us interviewing that guy.
Why can't we do more for Yeah, we need to get you off property.
Oh,
why is that?
Why?
Yeah, because you were told already? We were told already you had to go.
Oh, no, we weren't told. We weren't told. We told the security that Ron misheard something I was saying, and nobody said get off the property.
Just that deed you say you guys...
He said, oh, this guy was bothering me.
You guys are big guys with guns. If you're telling us to leave, we're going to leave. Right. We heard him complaining, and then we tried to clarify with the security. Okay. He was kind of whining.
About him. We were
excited
to ask him,
Okay, yeah, it's confirmed. You guys got to go.
Guys, we're sorry. We got to get going.
So if Ron Watkins just kind of complains, then you have to get told to leave.
I guess it's like cancel culture kind of getting out of control here. We're getting canceled. Do you want to describe what those gentlemen looked like?
Looks like a professional police force, but then you realize they're just private security, huge guns, and they're telling us, you've been asked to leave, and of course our response, because we kind of weren't quite. It was clear we were supposed to leave.
Yeah.
That Ron had gone to the security and pointed at us and everything, but we weren't actually told we needed to get off the property.
So that's how our day ended, I guess. We would have loved to stay longer. We were making friends left and right, but we were asked to leave by Q. Devram, should we have a moment of truth here? Should we do it?
I would love that. After all this, how confusing the day was, I would love to get a little truth out of this, wring some truth from the experience.
Well, I got you covered here. I got a moment of truth for you. It's funny that Patriot Street Fighter believes that people are currently living on Mars, because when we walked into the Reawaken America Tour, it felt like we were stepping onto another planet. A planet run by grifters selling nutritionally infused coffee beverages, miracle cures for ailments, and pyramid schemes. It was also a planet where the celebrities are conspiracy theorists and election deniers. But I think we did learn an important lesson on this planet. If you go to a Q conference and you piss off Q, then you're going to get kicked out by dudes with German Shepherds holding AR-15s. And that is the truth.
That's the truth. Wow. I mean, what an event. But really, what an event where, like, the thing that bonds everybody is their disdain for, like, facts. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you end up with.
It's a sad state of affairs, but we are much more awake. We have not slept since the Reawaken America Tour.
Coffee-infused
it's too many coffee-infused nutritional supplements.
Got us all hopped up on
beverages.
That
does it for this episode of The Good Liars Tell the Truth, but we've got a special bonus episode on Hero Hero. You can go to herohero.co/The Good Liars for that episode. You can click the link right there in the description. We also want to remind you, we have some live shows coming up. The Good Liars Fix America Live. We're going to solve all of America's problems at our live show. Never before seen videos and interviews with some politicians. We're going to be in Washington, D.C. on May 23rd, Nashville, Tennessee on June 6th, Los Angeles, California on June 25th, and San Francisco on June 26th. You can get the tickets at goodliars.com. We hope to see you there. Devram, before we go, I got to ask you. Do you have any words of wisdom?
We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a big one.
Very smart person. Not
Who?
me.
Who was
Martin Luther King Jr. said that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So, infinite hope we need to have.
Okay. Well, I hope
we need to have plenty of hope for bringing those Americans back from Mars if they're stuck there. Whatever's going on with that, we got to hope we can fix it.
Or maybe we got to hope we can get to Mars. Maybe that's where the good
burns down.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Good Liars Tell the Truth. We'll see you next time.
Were you guys in front of the Supreme Court?
Yes,
in 2020.
Exactly.
And Trump tweeted you guys.
Yes, exactly.
And all the Democrats were like, why did you tweet these people? None of these are the real doctors.
No, that's us.